Hi, welcome to WerkMaster. My name's Eric, and today we're going to be demonstrating how to remove and replace the belt in a Viper machine. On this machine, we've already taken off all the pad drivers, and we've put it upside down on the bench here. Now, we've removed the shroud so that it'll sit nicely, but you don't actually have to do that. So we've just done it for convenience. Now, to replace this belt, all you need is a 5mm Allen key and an X-Acto knife to cut the velcro when we get to that point. So let's start in. You've got 9 bolts around the perimeter. In these locations, 2 on each side and then 1 in the center. Those are the bolts that actually hold the clamshell drivetrain together. And then you've got 4 bolts in a square pattern here, and those are going to be your jack points. We've removed all of the bolts out, and you can see that these 4 are threaded on the bottom plate. So you take 4 of the bolts that you took from the outside edge and thread them into these. Then as you're separating these, you're going to want to work in a crisscross pattern just so that the plates separate evenly. Just want to get that down with a little bit of tension on it. Then go to the next bolt. So now you've got them separated just a little bit. You know that by having an even amount of tension on all 4 bolts. Now at this point, you should easily be able to slip the blade of your knife in between the 2 halves. Now the easiest way to do that is find the joint in your velcro, and you should actually be able to see where the seam is right behind it. Go all the way around the machine. Okay. By doing that, you don't have to remove the velcro and you won't have to replace it afterwards. Now we can separate the plates the rest of the way. Now if you find as you're doing this that some of the sprockets, and you can notice in this case this sprocket right here is coming up with the bottom plate, you can use a soft blow mallet to just gently persuade that to go back down. You don't want to use a whole lot of force, probably don't want to use a metal hammer because that can damage the bearings. Now that we've got these all the way in, we're free of these, the outside 8 sprockets. There is a sprocket right in the center that may have come up with the bottom plate, so you may have a little bit of belt tangle there, but you should be able to lift it up and off. There we go. Now normally if you take it off, if you're replacing a belt, pulling the belt out is not a problem because it's broken already. So this is what you're going to get when you open it up. Now, if you can, you should just be able to grab one of these and pull them out. If you can't, if it's a little sticky, grab yourself a couple of pry bars. You can slip them right in underneath. There's plenty of room here, and pop them out. You just need to take one out. Set that over to the side a little bit. Now take your new belt and wrap it in. Now to tension the belt, you're going to put it onto this sprocket, seat the bottom corner of the lower bearing here. You can see right in there. Make sure that everything's nice and straight for you. Just gently tap around the edges. Now over the years we've had a couple of different belts that go into the Viper, and this is one of the most common ones, so that's why we've chosen this one to demonstrate. When you go in to replace your belt, make sure you confirm which belt you have. Okay, so here we've got the top plate, or the bottom plate rather, that's going to go on. Now, Before you put it on, you may actually want to put just a little bit of grease into each of the bearing bores. It's not necessary, but it does make putting it back together go that much easier. Okay, so now it's ready to go back on. Now we're ready to put our perimeter bolts back in. And before they go in, we want to make sure that we put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. You don't want to tighten each bolt. Do it just as though you're changing a tire on a car. Just get a little bit of tension on each one, and then we're going to do a crisscross pattern. Now that we've got a little bit of tension, we can just start at one point, tighten that down a bit more, go across, then you get back to the first one, and just keep doing that pattern until it's fully seated and there's no gap around here. You've got it nice and tight all the way around. And as you're doing this, remember you are threading into aluminum, so you don't want to over tighten it because you'll strip out the bolt heads. Now we've still got these four, and again they get Loctite. And as with all the other parts on this machine, we use 243 blue Loctite. And now you're ready to put your pad drivers back on and get the machine running again.